Hey, everybody, we're Geeking Out Ninjas, and we're here to geek out. Good afternoon, Craig.
Good evening, Jeremiah.
What's going on?
A little bit of this, a little bit of that.
Yeah, that's it. Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. I was very slammed today at work.
What?
My my brain hopefully can make it through the whole show.
I think it'll be all right. I was a little bit busy this morning too. It was just in the morning, not the whole day.
Mine was literally all day. The only time I got to take a little break was during lunch. So,
And what did you do on this break? Anything? Take a nap?
no,
No?
I do not take naps. I watched Friday Night Lights while I ate my lunch.
That's right. We talked about that last week.
We did. Season or episode 10.
Season 1.
Yep.
Nice.
It's good
Nice.
time.
I watch.
Saracen and the Taylor's daughter starting to date, so things are picking up.
Oh, I don't watch Friday Night Lights.
Oh, you should.
I watched Doctor Who on my
I'm sorry.
lunch break.
I'm sorry.
I am on season 12, episode 1, in case you were wondering.
Wait, what season?
12 of the new, not of like 1960 12. Like,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
I'm like, oh man, you're going real far back.
No. They renamed it season 1, season 2, even though when they rebooted it.
Yeah.
Which is also, they're bringing back the showrunner when they rebooted it back in 08, 07, whenever it was.
Yeah.
They're bringing him back, Russell T Davies. It's going to be interesting.
Get excited, all you Whovians.
It is. We got this season, which is 13, coming out eventually, and then he will take over after that.
Someday.
Yeah. Exciting stuff. Very exciting stuff. Have you heard of this Squid Games on Netflix?
I am aware of it. I don't really know much of anything about it.
I don't either. I was hoping you did. I haven't watched it. I hear people talking about it. It's out in the universe.
Of course.
I was hoping to get your take on it.
My take on it is that I have been watching a show on Netflix called Made that is very good.
Okay.
It's probably very different than Squid Game, but it is about a mother trying to escape domestic violence and figuring out how to survive that world. It's very interesting, very depressing, to the point where my wife stopped watching midway through the second episode, and she's just like, all I'm doing is crying. This is too hard to watch. But I think it's maybe it's an important thing for everybody to be aware of. I mean, the more people are aware of, I think, domestic violence, I think the better off society will be, and all the trouble that it takes to kind of survive once you break free from the domestic violence. I think
Interesting.
That's on Netflix, called Made. It is quite good so far. I'm only on. I've finished 3 episodes so far.
Wow, I wish I could say that I'm watching something that would benefit me, but I am watching Below Deck, which is a
Star Trek.
It's a reality show of a mega yacht and the crew that works on this mega yacht.
Oh, so that's not the Star Trek Below Deck?
No.
Oh.
No. It appears on. I'm watching it on Peacock. We just finished season 1, my wife and I. It's a Bravo show.
Okay.
So similar to Housewives of whatever. Yeah. That is the show that we are watching together right now.
It's very different than the show that I'm watching.
Yeah. It is just drama.
Yeah.
That's all it is. It's pure watching other people spend enormous amounts of money to charter a yacht.
Of course.
And have a crew of, I think there was 10 or 11, basically take care of them for 2 or 3 days, whatever it is, in like the Bahamas, I guess, somewhere out there. Very interesting. Very interesting.
It sounds like my kind of show.
I don't think it is, but
Not really.
you were shaking your head. No, yeah, the reunion show is what we watched last night. Well, actually, we watched 3 episodes plus the
There's
reunion show.
there's a reunion.
Yes, yes,
It's
yes.
been on long enough to where they need a reunion to see how everybody was doing from previous seasons.
Well, no, it's so you're obviously not familiar with Bravo and how they run their reality series, but
Obviously not.
obviously, I have years. I don't watch Housewives. My wife watches Housewives, so I've had years of experience with this. Basically, at the end of every season, they have a reunion show, which is probably a few months after it was filmed,
Yeah.
recorded, whatever, and they bring them all in and discuss that season's doings and doings. There was doings on this mega yacht.
Okay.
And do you know how much it costs to rent a mega yacht?
More than I have.
Right. I didn't realize it was a mega yacht when I looked last night. I just searched yachts.
Yeah.
And simple yachts with the crew of 2 or 3 is upwards of 60,000 a week.
Jeez.
So
Joe Manchin money is what you're telling me.
this is not like, yeah, we could never plan on going on a mega yacht. That would not be happening. The tip is rather large.
Tip sounds like it would probably be more than how much I make in like a couple months.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. A good tip would be that. Yeah. But
so what else is going on with you, Jeremiah? Besides
what else? All right. We're going to move on from the reality show. So several weeks ago, I talked about that I'm joining a voluntary group with my company.
Hold on, wait. Before you finish that, how voluntary is this? If you need help, blink twice.
Right. I am not blinking. It was voluntary. Blinking. No. This is a health and wellness type volunteering thing. So I don't know why I signed up for this. But essentially, I don't got all the details yet, but they sent me a FitBit. So I'm wearing the FitBit. You can't, if you can see it. It's FitBit.
They spared tons of expense with this Fitbit. Let me just say, it's probably the cheaper of the Fitbits.
It's the Inspire 2, which I don't know.
I think that's essentially just a digital pedometer, which just counts your steps.
No, it does a little bit more. What I found fascinating, it does track my sleep.
It does. Well, that's creepy.
No, it is creepy.
It has a heart rate meter on there as well.
It does have that as well. What I love is the tracking of the sleep. So I got it on Friday and I charged it, and today is Wednesday, and I'm at. Of course, I haven't walked all that much, so I don't know. I'm like still at 60%.
Dun dun dun.
So it has a lot of battery life.
Yes.
The most fascinating part about this, so the Fitbit sent to me, I'm supposed to do a diary, I think daily, of my steps. I'm sure I share this. What I eat, I think, is supposed to be in there. Again, I don't have all the details, and I couldn't get logged in today. So I think it was supposed to start today. So I don't know. We'll figure it out tomorrow. But again,
fast, strong start.
Exactly. So the app has a lot of things. Like I said, it has a heart rate. It tracks my sleep, which is very nice. It says track mindfulness. I don't know what that is, but anyways, it tells me about how many hours I slept, and then it also measures. It gives me a grade, and it measures my time asleep and the amount of minutes I was awake in between that. It measures my deep sleep and my REM percentage, and restoration, which is the percentage that my heart rate is below the resting heart rate or sleeping heart rate. So just to give you an example, last night My score was 78, which is fair. I got 38 points out of 50 for sleeping for 6 hours and 2 minutes and being awake 35 minutes. My deep, I got into deep sleep for an hour and 5 minutes, and I was in REM state for 17% of that deep sleep. So I got a score of 21 out of 25. It even gives me graphs. And my restoration, I got 19 out of 25, 64% below resting, sleeping heart rate. So I guess that's the amount of time I was below the sleeping heart rate. And I was restless for 9%.
Based on all of this, I can tell you you're still alive and you're still functioning. So
I am. Last night was not a really restful night of sleep. But because I did wake up quite a bit. Part of that was I think I need to put some water in my CPAP machine. My mouth was pretty dry.
Dun, dun, dun.
You're just getting a lot of information about me at this point.
You are learning a lot about Jeremiah.
So I wear a full mask on my CPAP machine because I do have sleep apnea and I snore.
He is not unlike Darth Vader when he sleeps.
It's creepy. Yeah, it's weird. This is
as long as you don't sleep in a back tank, I think we're okay.
Not yet.
For those who don't know that, that's like the rejuvenation tank in Star Wars. It's like where you go to heal and that kind of stuff.
Luke was in that in Empire. I could definitely get into one of those. That was lovely. What's going on with you? Enough about me.
I said I really didn't want to go down the rabbit hole with this fan thing when I got this new fan. So I got a new fan, for those who maybe are not aware, from my office. I got it because I liked the look of it and because it had a specific Kelvin rating for the light. So it's just like a color temperature, which is very hard to find both of those things, me liking the design of the fan and the color. And I kind of just went for it.
Nice.
And I did not like the controls of the fan that came with it. It's supposed to be Bluetooth, which it's got this like little remote, and you can control it with Google Home and all that stuff. But I already had controls for my fan and my light and all that stuff, so I didn't want to do it. But it didn't work with any of that stuff, and I never heard back from their support staff when I put a ticket in, and so it was just like, well, I guess I'm just gonna have to like finally bite the bullet. So I bought the like little adapter for the wall, switched out the wall switch and all that stuff, and it's underwhelming to say the least. I can control it from Google, but also I have less control over it in Google than I did with my other fan switch. So before I could have like 3 different settings, like low, medium, and high.
Right.
This one, it has 6 different settings for speed that you can do from this or their app, but in Google, it's literally just on or off. So
it's kind of pointless.
Yeah, it's like, why do I want to go into a whole nother app? Or why do I can't control it with my voice? Because before I could say, hey, set it to like medium, set it to low, set it to high, or whatever.
Right.
Yeah, I can't do that anymore. So I just have to say they're made by Modern Forms. I would not recommend this unless you really just love tiny controls that can get lost. Because I'm pretty sure that's eventually going to happen. My kid is going to pick this up and it's going to end up in the trash someday. And I'm going to be like, where'd that remote go? I'm going to have to buy another one for like 40 or 50 bucks. And I'm going to have to repair it with the fan. And it's just, it's a nightmare. I don't like the way companies do proprietary technology stuff. Like it's awful. It's bad. Everybody wants a smart home, but then they get into it and it's like, why is everything different? Why does everything use different protocols? Why does nothing connect to the other thing?
Yeah, it's terrible.
Because everybody hates everybody and nobody wants you to enjoy your life is what's happening.
That's pretty
That's what I
dark.
got out of this fan
Yeah.
story.
Well, nice. Well, what are we going to be talking about today? Give us a little recap.
Let's hit that pre-cap. Windows 11 has been released. Get excited. If you aren't, that's probably fair. Apple AirPods, are you ready to find them easier than you are now? I bet you are. If you own AirPod Pros, Nest Cams, new Nest Cams have been finally released. You can actually buy them now. Google's going to turn on two-factor authentication for a bunch of accounts. Get excited for that. And we're going to talk about how you can relieve depression with a brain implant.
Yes.
Get excited. I know I'm excited. And I think we should let's just get right into it.
Let's go.
Let's talk about Windows 11, man.
Windows 11.
It has been released. Here are my thoughts. Do not update. Wait a long time. Now is not the time to update. So there's a lot of caveats to Windows 11.
Yes.
So I think it's funny. So I think like 5 years ago or 6 years ago when they announced Windows 10, they were like, hey, this is the last version of Windows there's ever going to be. And everybody was like, yeah, whatever. And then they kept it going for a while. I was like, well, maybe they're going to do this. Maybe they're going to make this a thing. And then, they changed who was in charge of Windows. And now it's like, oh, there's a new version of Windows. Just goes to show you all it takes is a different boss to completely change what a company's doing with software or hardware. So Windows 11, the big things are it's supposed to improve security for Windows. So there are more required security features that your computer has to have. And it also has to have like a newer processor. So here's my thought on how you should go about upgrading to Windows if you're going to upgrade to Windows 11. Buy a new computer when you want to upgrade to Windows 11. I do not recommend the average person trying to figure out if their computer is going to work with Windows 11, because if it gets stuck midway through an upgrade and it fails, you could be screwed, and then you're taking it to like Best Buy and they're going to charge you like $200 to make it work again. Just don't upgrade to Windows 11 until you buy a new computer with Windows 11. That is my IT advice.
Is it free?
It's a free update, just like Windows 10 was a free update.
Okay, I was going to say, I remember Windows 10 being free. I didn't know if this one was going to be free.
But there's a good chance your home computer is not going to work with Windows 11. Work computer might, because it has some of these security features built in usually, but a home computer usually doesn't have the security features they want built in. I mean, there are some benefits to the security features. It's supposed to help prevent like malware infestations. I just think it's weird that they call it an infestation. But it'll allow you to be more passwordless in the future, which I think is a big thing for what Windows is trying to do. I know we talked about it a couple weeks ago.
Right.
Microsoft's letting their accounts be signed in without a password. So I think they're trying to get it to where from account to computer to whatever you're doing with Windows, you won't need a password any step of the way. You'll just use like your like Windows Hello, which is the thing kind of like Face ID for iPhone and that kind of stuff. And I mean, there's a bunch of others, things that it'll help protect. Most people probably won't care about those things. But just know Windows 11 is more security focused. And do not update until you buy a new computer.
Most definitely.
Those are my takeaways.
I think those are pretty good. I'm not too excited about it.
I'm not too excited either. I had to send out an email at work. So I'm the IT guy at work. And I had to send out an email because I knew people were going to be stupid. And I said, so I kind of make it like just a regular IT email where it's like informative. But in there, I put, do not upgrade your computer to Windows 11. Like I have in place where it's not going to do it on its own. But some people for whatever reason, are dumb and they're going to try and do it on their own.
How many do you think will?
There's at least 5 people that I know would actively try to do it.
Nice.
Just because they think they're their own IT department. Never be that person at work, please.
And so this just popped in my head right now. I didn't put it on our notes here. When you say IT guy, so one of my favorite Muppet characters is the IT guy. Did you know they have an IT guy Muppet?
I don't think I was aware.
Yes. Love it. Anyways, Friday, October 9th. That's this Friday, right?
Yeah.
8th.
Sounds like it's coming up.
October 8th. The Muppets go to the Haunted Mansion on Disney Plus.
Well, there you go.
Tune in. I will be watching it Friday night, in case anybody was wondering. So by the time you hear this podcast, you should be watching the Muppets on Disney Plus. Sorry, it's big news. You need to do it. Just wanted to throw that in while I was thinking about it.
Just do it.
Carry on with our next update.
Yeah. Ultra Cruise by GM.
GM.
So they have a current system called Super Cruise.
Super Cruise.
Which they have in a couple of vehicles.
That's better than cruise control.
Yes, I think that's kind of the naming nomenclature that they went with. It's like, it's better than cruise control. It's Super Cruise. And now it's Ultra Cruise. What's the next one going to be when they realize Ultra Cruise is like the highest you can do?
Uber Cruise.
Uber Cruise. I think that could work. Although they're not a German manufacturer. I think Mercedes or BMW may sue and be like, you can't use Uber.
And that's the name of a car company. But
Uber, Uber is a German word, by the way. So Ultra Cruise is a new system by General Motors, aka GM, that uses sensors like cameras, radar, LiDAR to control a vehicle's steering, acceleration, and braking. So with this new Ultra Cruise system, you'll be able to use it on 2 million miles of paved roads and in 95% of driving scenarios. So covers a lot, right?
Yes.
Super Cruise has been praised as a safer, more capable version of Tesla's autopilot, thanks to its camera-based driver monitoring system that ensures drivers keep their eyes on the road. Which I will say, and it's probably true, but Tesla has started using their cameras that are in the cabin of the vehicle to do the same thing. I actually had somebody at work tell me today, they're like, yeah, like anytime I look away from the road for like a second or something now, when I have the autopilot enabled, it starts beeping at me and it's like, you can no longer use this for the rest of the drive. So, I mean, they're actively getting a little more serious about that. I think the more scrutiny they're under, they're like, wait a minute, we should probably take this a little more seriously.
Yeah.
But Super Cruise will coexist with Ultra Cruise, but the Super Cruise will now be reserved for their more mainstream vehicles,
Right.
the plebeian vehicles, while the latter is reserved for GM's ultra luxury vehicles, like probably their Cadillacs and things of that nature.
Right.
So you can bet that Escalade's going to have Ultra Cruise and not Super Cruise. So the Ultra Cruise will be much more capable than Super Cruise. So it will cover the 2 million miles of paved roads starting out in US and Canada, but it will have the capacity to grow up to more than 3.4 million miles.
That's a lot of miles.
So I don't know how many road mileage is out there, but I feel like it's probably more than 3.4 million miles.
Well, sure. But I mean, it's ever growing. So like new roads are always coming up. But it does say in here too, though, it's going to be not only main roads, subdivisions, or city streets, but rural paved roads.
Yeah. Rural paved roads.
Yeah.
So, it's expanding, if you will. Ultra Cruise will be a route following feature. So essentially, you'll put in the coordinates and it'll kind of do the route for you. So it'll follow the speed limit, that kind of thing. Ultra Cruise will also support automatic and on-demand lane changes, left and right-hand turns. It will avoid close objects and enable parking in residential driveways.
I don't know. It's scary.
It's the future, Jeremiah.
It is, but until every car has it, I don't know that it's really going to be that useful.
So most of these systems are safer than regular drivers. It's been proven in study after study. I mean, they still get in accidents, obviously, but
Sure.
they are safer than regular drivers.
Are they really?
Yeah. Overall, I mean, you can't. Obviously, autopilot does stupid stuff. But also, these are only level 2 autonomous systems. So
Right.
you're not supposed to take your eyes off the road. It's really a driver assist functionality. It's not hey, you can now disregard the road and kind of read a book or something. Like
what
the people
level
who
would
get
that be?
People who get in accidents are the people who are not taking this seriously.
Right.
And they're just kind of using it as like, hey, it can drive for me. It's like, it's not really what it's designed to do. So the level that would do that is a level 5. So,
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So Alphabet's
Oh.
Waymo company has abandoned its plans to develop any sort of level 2 system after determining that a fully autonomous system would be far safer. So they've been working on level 5 the whole time that they've been a company.
We've talked about them before.
Yeah, and so level 2 is nice, but it really has to be monitored by the person driving the vehicle. I know in my Tesla that it's gonna do stupid stuff at certain times. And I know when it's going to do it for the most part because I pay attention to what the system is doing.
Right.
And so I just have to be cautious of that and be aware that, oh, it's going to do this or that at this moment in time, because I am paying attention anytime I'm using the system, because I don't trust it and neither should anybody else. It's nice to use and it makes driving easier. Especially when you're driving long road trips, having something like this where it keeps you perfectly centered in the lane. It does all the following for you, which a lot of cars do. The what is that? The cruise
Spacing.
control.
Yeah.
I can't remember exactly what it's called, but my brain is not
nice.
working. But yeah, so I mean, a lot of cars do that, but the fact that it keeps you in the lane, it does all that kind of stuff. It'll even I think this is full autopilot now. It'll navigate you around like slow cars and things like that. It'll put you in the faster lane and it'll do all that by itself. So, I mean, it makes driving easier, especially on long trips, but it's not something that should be used without fully paying attention ever. Even in this ultra cruise, GM is saying it's still a level 2 system. You have to be paying attention at all times.
Yes. It can't handle every driving situation.
No, it can't. Especially like things like roundabouts are very complicated. It's like anytime a scenario like that comes up, it's going to start alerting you, say disengage, it's time for you to take over. I don't know what's happening. And because it maps, so the way GM does their system is they literally do a LiDAR scan, which is essentially like a 3D model of a road.
Right.
And so they know everything that's on that road. Obviously, things change and they'll go back and they'll remap things, but that helps them know when it's time for the person to take over. Obviously, it has cameras and things like that, so it can kind of sense things other changes. But the LiDAR maps is really how they're getting most of that data to help navigate.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
I can't wait for level 5. That's what I want. I don't care about the other levels.
I think once we get level 5 autonomy, most people probably won't own cars. I think you'll end up in a rideshare situation. You might own like one car per family just so you can go on trips and things. But I think most people, their daily commute would be in some sort of rideshare. Because at that point, I mean, the cars will be used so much that like it'll take me to work and then it'll go and pick somebody else up who goes to work at a different time and then so on and so forth, and it'll just be used throughout the day.
I don't think I'll live that long.
Who knows? My guess is it's probably another like 20 years away.
Hopefully I won't be working. I don't know. We'll see.
I wish I was not going to be working in 20 years.
Well, you're younger than me, so
Fingers crossed. I've got time to either get hit by a car and win the insurance lottery or something like that.
right.
That's how this works, right?
Yes.
Just got to work the system. You don't have to work hard. Just work the system.
That's what we're about here on the show. We like
Pew,
to
pew,
work the
pew.
system.
Work the system.
Nice. All right, so let's move on.
Let's talk about your favorite thing, the AirPods Pro.
AirPods Pro. I have
AirPods
absolutely
Max.
0 AirPods. I don't own any AirPods.
So my wife has the AirPods Pro, and I will say that she, on the regular, misplaces the headphones from the case because she'll take them out and just like put them in, and then she'll set the AirPod down somewhere.
Right.
Like I never do that with my wireless headphones. I'm always like, if I have the case on my hand at all times, almost or in my pocket or something.
Yes,
so
that's what I
take it
do.
out. I immediately put it in and then put it back in my pocket. So this will be super handy for her. She's gonna love this.
So it's going to use the Find My Network.
Yeah.
By leveraging Bluetooth on their Apple devices.
Yep.
The thing though about it is you have to get the firmware update for the AirPods Pro and Max.
Yes.
So it's currently not part of the network, but the firmware upgrade is what makes them part of the network and makes them findable.
Yes. The problem is that it's hard to update your AirPods apparently.
Yes.
And there's no straightforward way to do this. I'm curious how this will work for people who have AirPods but don't have like an iPhone. Like
right.
I guess as long as they have some sort of Apple device that they connect to, it should be fine, but it has to be connected to that device and then it'll just magically do the update. So
yes.
Good luck finding that. But apparently if you go to settings, I'm assuming this is in the AirPods app or just probably settings on the phone or your tablet or something.
Right.
Scroll down to Bluetooth devices and then tap the blue information icon next to your AirPods. And then you scroll down to the About section and you check the version number. If you have the new firmware, you should see 4A400, and you'll know that you can now find your AirPods.
So if you don't have that, then you can't find your AirPods. My problem right now has nothing to do with AirPods. My son lost his iPhone.
Dun, dun, dun.
We can't find it because it was dead or almost dead when he lost it. And once we finally went into it, it can't ping it.
So, well, do you have the Find My?
Yes.
Doesn't it show you like the last known location or something?
No. I mean, he had, I don't know which iPhone he had. He didn't have like the Pro.
Well, are you going into the like iCloud.com and then looking?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it says that the device is not giving a signal and cannot be found.
Cool.
No, it's not cool.
Cool.
He's been without a phone for like 2 weeks.
Cool, Jeremiah.
It's terrible. Cool. It's terrible.
I will add Like Jeremiah's son's phone, these probably lack the U1 chip, so it won't be as precise as you would get with the AirTags.
Right.
So it's going to be more of like a Marco Polo situation where you can visually see whether you're near or far away from the AirPods.
Yeah.
So that should be fun trying to find your AirPods still, but it'll be better than it is. So you got that going for you.
We hope so. I didn't buy the pros. I bought some AirPods for my kids once.
Yeah.
Or quote unquote AirPods. From a manufacturer.
So they were not AirPods.
Well,
were they more PearPods?
No. I can't say how we bought them.
It sounds like they may have either been PearPods
or where we bought them. But
China.
They were branded and packaged, and I looked and felt and seemed like Apple AirPods. Pretty crazy.
That's all that matters.
I don't care, but apparently younger people do. So I can't divulge where we got them, how we got them, whatever, but whatever.
He got them.
We got them. $35.
There you go.
All right. Enough about that.
Google has finally allowed you to buy their new Nest Cam and Nest Cam Floodlight camera.
Ooh.
Get excited.
Are you going to get one of these?
I might get one of the Floodlights, to be honest.
Yes.
So the Nest Cam itself is a wired. Oh, Jeremiah disappeared for a second.
I'm back.
The Nest Cam wired is $100. It's their budget camera. But it kind of has the exact same features as everything else, it seems like. So it's got the 1080p video at 30 frames per second. I think the only thing it might not have is HDR. It's got the same, it's actually got a wider field of view. It's got the same digital zoom, although digital zoom always is terrible, so don't use that. It comes in 4 colors, which is unique in the smart home security camera space. It comes in white, which is their normal color, pink, beige, or green. And strangely, the pink one comes with a wooden base, but no other ones come with a wooden base. I'm not sure.
But they don't match the colors. Like
I guess
base matches the pink.
Doesn't wood match other colors?
You don't know anything about matching, apparently.
You know nothing, Jon Snow. Apparently neither did the creators of Game of Thrones, because they really screwed that up. The Nest Cam with Floodlight is essentially the indoor-outdoor Nest Cam, the wireless one, with a 2400 lumen floodlight, which it's actually pretty bright, which is good. 2400 lumens is a pretty good amount of light. It's also 1080p video with HDR, because you really need HDR for outdoor cameras. Otherwise, you're just going to miss half of everything that's out there. But it's got this 130-degree field of view and a 6x digital zoom. So they're all pretty similar cameras. The Nest Cam with Floodlight actually requires a permanent power and has to be wired into your home's wiring through a standard outdoor junction box, which is kind of what I've been waiting for. I'd rather have a camera that's permanently wired in. I'd actually prefer it to be hardwired to my network too, but that's probably just me because I like the pain of wiring things. The Floodlight is rated for IP65 for weatherproofing, and the camera itself is IP54. That probably doesn't mean anything to you. I don't even remember what most of those numbers mean because numbers. But it also, the Floodlight can use on-device intelligence to detect people, animals, and vehicles rather than just relying on a motion sensor, as most Floodlight cameras do.
That's what I really like about this one.
Yeah.
That's pretty amazing.
Keeps you from illuminating the garden when tree branches blow in the wind.
Yes. That seems
Dust in
like
the wind.
it's a very nice feature to have on these. Um, that's what caught my eye when reading this article was that. Also, what I would say is pretty neat. I didn't highlight it. I didn't start highlighting until after this vehicle, but the built-in intelligence and on-device processing, which means less reliance on the cloud. That's really not what I was looking for. Was the it could tell you who the person is. There we go. The familiar faces feature. That's what I'm looking for.
So, I mean, they've had that for a while, but it's been on their Nest IQ cameras. And
Right.
you still have to pay the Nest Aware subscription, which is starts at $6 a month, I think, for like one camera. And then actually, that's sorry, $6 a month covers all the cameras. And then I think that's like maybe I don't want to mess it up, but there's a higher tier that records all the time. I think the $6 a month is for only like motion recordings. Like it won't record all the time 24/7, which is kind of what I prefer, just because I'd rather be able to kind of scrub through because you can't necessarily rely on motion detection working 100% of the time.
Right.
I will say one of the nice things about this is that there is some local storage in the camera. So a lot of these cameras now you can put like an SD card or something in them. But Google's like not really going to do the SD card thing, but we'll put a little storage in there so you can record up to an hour of footage, which works out to about a week's worth of events. So at that point, I think if you lose power, it's only going to record events and not necessarily 24/7. So
Right.
still record something. They did also announce that they will be releasing a new Nest Cam doorbell that's wired next year. A lot of people got really upset that the wireless camera that they released this year could not record 24/7. So they are going to release a new wired doorbell next year that can record 24/7. Get excited.
Yeah. I don't need to record 24/7, but that's me.
I do. I want all the securities, Jeremiah, all the securities.
Yes. Yes, you do. Now, speaking of Google, they're also about to turn on two-factor authentication by default for millions and millions of users
150 million accounts
by
by
the end
the
of the
end of
year.
this year. They've been trying to push people to two-factor authentication forevers. And it makes sense if you don't have it on, you really should turn it on.
Yes.
All it does is when you sign into a new device, it will prompt you on your phone to approve that login. It is super simple and it's
Love it.
super secure, secures your account. If you don't have it on, turn it on. If you don't know how to turn it on, Google it.
It's very easy. For someone that would use multiple computers or multiple devices, being able to just go from device to device and access my Gmail and then just my phone pop up saying, "Are you sure you're wanting to log in?" I love it. Easy, quick, secure. It's the way to go.
Yeah, if you're not doing it, do it. And Google may do it for you. So you may not have a choice pretty soon. I will. So in this article, it talks about the inactive account manager. If you don't know what that is, I recommend Googling Google inactive account manager. It's kind of genius, kind of nice thing to have. So what it does is it takes you through like a if you don't have any activity on your account for 3 months, what do you want us to do? Who do we contact? You put in an email, a phone number. If you don't, and you can set that period for as long as you want to. So, or maybe not as long as you want to, but it's like 3 months, 6 months, and I think maybe 12 months or a year.
I think 18 months
is the longest.
I think so.
But so if you don't use your account for that long, probably because you died, it would be a good idea to have someone be able to get into your account if you didn't share your password with somebody. I know I have my wife as my inactive account backup person. So I get emails from Google every once in a while. It's like, hey, do you want to verify this information is still correct? And obviously I'm still married to my wife. So yes, it's all still correct. But it just gives you a little peace of mind, and maybe your spouse a little peace of mind, unless you're cheating on her or him. And then they'll find out after you're dead. But it could help them pay bills. It could do
Yes.
get into your photos if you're the person who's the manager of all the photos that you have stored in Google. Just a bunch of useful things that it will help you do. I recommend checking out the Inactive Account Manager for your Google account if you have a Google account. So
beautiful. Well said. Now, this next article kind of blew me away.
It's going to blow your mind.
It blew me away. The brain implant that relieves a patient's severe depression. There's something in their brain that they surgically input.
Yeah.
Essentially, this device will zap the brain when it detects neural activity associated with irrational thoughts.
Yeah, which previously triggered depressive obsessions. The electrode delivers a short corrective electric pulse, and poof, the cycle stops, as the patient said. Yeah, so it essentially acts like a neural pacemaker, resetting the brain circuits associated with negative feelings.
I'm speechless. Actually, I'm not, because I'm talking.
Yeah. So apparently deep brain stimulation has been used to treat epilepsy and Parkinson's disease, but had limited success against depression, which affects 280 million people globally. I think that's probably a low number, is my guess.
Right. Yeah.
With 8.5 billion people in the world, only 280 million suffered from depression. I think that's more of a people don't want to admit they're depressed, or they don't know signs of depression. I was talking to my dad about this recently, and men in particular express depression usually by acting out in anger. And I think a lot of men probably suffer from depression and don't realize it, and they're just angry a lot, and they're just like, oh, I'm just angry. It's like, I think there's probably a little more behind that than you might think.
Right.
So 30% of depressed patients do not respond well to existing treatments. So this could have a pretty huge effect on people. But the deep brain stimulation device used in the study was adapted from one used to treat epilepsy. When it detects the biomarker in the amygdala, it sends tiny electric pulses to another area, the ventral striatum, which is part of the brain's reward and pleasure system. This immediately lifts the unwanted mood symptoms. That's just crazy. That you can essentially trick the brain into, instead of being depressed or having this bad mood, hey, here's a pleasure or a reward.
From someone who suffers from depression, I mean,
Yeah.
this is like so amazing, because not that I've ever been in a situation where I've thought about killing myself, but just irrational. I do have some very irrational thoughts.
Yeah.
Very. And it's hard for me to imagine that there is something that can help retrain, or even just kind of make me think about something else.
Or just to get you out of that
Recycle.
Yeah. People might call it a funk or something, but it's like just to get you out of that mood that you're in, which drags you down and really makes you not be fun to be around, essentially. Not talking about you in particular.
Well,
I'm talking about my own experiences. So I mean, they have literally only done this in one person. So they are looking to enroll 2 more people, and then they're aiming for 12 patients altogether. Jeremiah has raised his hand, but I don't know if he's raised it to the right people.
I'm gonna Google this now and see if I can.
So they're hoping to find out if these circuits vary across patients and whether this work is repeatable multiple times. And they need to see if an individual's biomarker or brain circuit changes over time as the treatment continues. So this is literally the very first time they've done this. It's been working, I think, for a year, is what the article said. So, I mean, this is not very long to have studied something that could affect
Right.
you over a long period of time. So this is definitely something that's going to progress over the next 5 to 10 years. But what they're
Right.
hoping,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
So what they're hoping is that once the details of the brain circuit underlying depression are better understood, we hope to find a non-invasive biomarker that can be used with non-invasive treatment. So they're hoping to use this so you don't have to implant something into your brain, which I think is great. So I mean, that's obviously the long-term way to handle this, because the surgery is expensive and very dangerous to do. And you could not do that on, how many people did they say? 30 million people?
Right.
30% of 280 million people, which is probably higher than that. So yeah,
And that's
it's
just what
impossible.
I was gonna say. It's expensive right now. They actually have to go underneath the skull,
Yeah.
and the electrodes extend deep into the brain. Very invasive, very risky. But again, I mean, we talk about this biomedical conversion that's happening. There's several different things we've talked
One of my
about, and
favorite topics. Yeah.
it's just mind blowing how fast the science is moving. And for someone that takes medication for this and has had issues trying to reshape or what I've read and learned is that our brain is filled basically with like super highways, and so when we have a feeling, there's a road that takes it to the action,
Yeah.
so to say, kind of in a very plain way. And it's very hard once it becomes, it starts as a dirt road and becomes paved and then eventually becomes a super highway. To try to retrain that is very difficult, and having an external device do this is just mind blowing.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Always interesting to see how much scientists know about our bodies, and yet some people don't trust them with a vaccine. We can implant something in your brain that can take away depression, but that vaccine, super scary.
Super scary. Oh man.
I always bring it back there because it just blows my mind that people
Yeah.
think scientists don't know what they're doing. When we have vaccines for, I don't know, for forever. Actually, there was a new vaccine that just was announced by the WHO. And I'm Googling it hurriedly here. Why can I not think of what it is? Malaria vaccine. The first malaria vaccine was approved by the WHO. They've been working on a malaria vaccine for 100 years.
Yes.
A malaria vaccine is going to change the third world countries drastically.
Mm-hmm.
I bet there will not be very many people in those countries who are like, I don't want the vaccine. My body, my rights. There's going to be a lot of people who are like, please, I do not want to die of malaria. Thank you very much.
Yes. Yeah.
Anyways, back to technology. I geek out about all sorts of things, and sometimes it turns into a rant.
That's all right. That's all right.
So some people probably use Google Chrome, like most people use Google Chrome, and a lot of people probably use it to save their passwords, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so you just kind of, save my password? Sure, I'll do that. I should also point out, if you save your passwords in Google, it has a recommendation feature. You should probably use that recommendation and don't use the same password for every website and just have it save that.
What?
It's not a convenience thing, it's a security thing.
Lies. Just lies.
But so they're kind of expanding this feature. They've slowly been expanding it for a while, but now it's really going to be more useful. So in the Google app, you'll be able to access all of your passwords saved in the Google Password Manager right from the Google app menu. And presumably the app menu is when you go into the Google app, you have that picture of your face is in a circle sort of deal. And that usually leads to more settings. There's going to be probably a specific setting for the Google Password Manager in there. Google hasn't released like what exactly they're talking about. So there's some guessing going on here, but it's going to make it so much easier to actually retrieve your password and use Google Passwords or Google Password Manager as a password manager, like a proper one. Because as it stands right now, it's really only useful for people who use Google Chrome in the browser.
Right.
Not super useful for anything else. But putting that shortcut there so anybody can see their passwords is going to make things a lot easier. Also, for iOS users, Google has other good news. While it has been possible to use the Google or Chrome app for auto-filling passwords in third-party applications, the company wants to roll out the option to suggest passwords too, which has been available for Android and the Chrome browser on desktop for a long time. So that'll be super helpful as well. So you're not using those terrible passwords like I love my sister one. I think that's a popular.
Is it really?
Popular password in Arkansas.
Man, you're on a roll tonight.
I'm just got it going. So, and then the next password for the other websites, I love my sister too. Just kind of keep it different, but the same. I know somebody at my company who literally just changes the number on the end of their password.
Yes.
But their password is so terrible that if anybody were to find out, they would be hacked so easily. Although we do have multi-factor authentication turned on, so it'd be a lot tougher. But yeah, there's a lot of dumb people out there.
There are. So I don't know if they're all dumb. Some are just lazy.
You could be right. You could be right. I have a negative view of a lot of things. Password stuff is one of those things, but I know better than other people do, so it's easier for me to say that than
it is.
Some people don't want to put in the effort to secure their passwords.
Well, that's why your train of thinking, that's why you do what you do. You're able to think of these things and be able to help prevent as best you can others from just changing the number.
Yeah. I literally saw their password today and I was like, no, please no. Why? Why? All right. Our main topic. This is really probably not going to be super long. The company that routes SMS text messages for all major U.S. carriers and pretty much every carrier worldwide, because it's 300 different carriers, was hacked for 5 years. You know what's crazy about this? The only reason this was found out is because they had to file a they had an SEC filing. I'll get this out, I promise. Is a preliminary proxy statement related to a pending merger with a special purpose acquisition company, which is a SPAC or Spock. I don't know how people pronounce that, but the acronym is SPAC. It's becoming a very, very popular thing as people do IP. Anyways, that will make Cineverse a publicly traded firm. That's the only reason this was found out, is because they had to file with the SEC documents that discuss their risk factors for investors. In this case, including the security-related risk factors demonstrated by the Cineverse database hack. The only reason people found out for 5 freaking years.
It began in May of 2016.
Yeah.
May of 2016.
You know what's funny? In the filing with the SEC, in May 2021, Cineverse became aware of unauthorized access to its operational and information technology systems by an unknown individual or organization. They didn't find out until 5 years later.
It's ongoing.
Yeah.
Well, up to that point, it was ongoing.
Yeah. So apparently, as soon as they found out about the unauthorized access, they launched an internal investigation, notified law enforcement, convinced remedial actions, and engaged the services of specialized legal counsel and other incident response professionals. The only reason you engage the services of a specialized legal counsel is because you're afraid of getting sued by so many people, probably including carriers. And who knows if, and it doesn't say specifically if, like text messages or phone calls, all the things that pass through Cineverse, nobody knows for sure if any of that stuff was leaked. Cineverse says, nah, fam, we didn't do it. It's not leaked. It was just this other stuff. But I mean, how am I supposed to trust these people who only announced it because of an SEC filing?
Right. And they don't even, I don't know if they even know.
I doubt they do. I bet,
they
like
can't
you said,
know everything.
I bet this is an ongoing, we're still trying to figure out what has been leaked. Because if you don't know of breached access for 5 years, there's so much stuff they can do.
Yes.
And if they're
unfiltered access for 5 years.
And if they're using the credentials of trusted carriers, like that's how they got access, is they use the credentials of these other carriers. So it looked like legit usage. So who's to say what they did or didn't do? Hopefully their logs are good enough. Which logs, if you don't know, are just like everything that happens in a system gets written down in one place.
Right.
So you can go back and look at it. Hopefully their logs actually worked and were good, and that the people who had access didn't delete the logs, because that's a thing that can happen. Woo. So when Ars Technica, which is the website that I read this on, reached out to Cineverse, Cineverse said, given the confidential nature of our relationship with our customers and a pending law enforcement investigation, we do not anticipate further public statements regarding this matter.
Of course not.
Cineverse says its intercarrier messaging service processes over 740 billion messages each year for over 300 mobile operators worldwide. But they play a key role in ensuring text messages get to their destination. So they have access to all of the text messages, and I believe phone logs, like phone call logs and other things like that. My first thought is, this sounds like it's could be like a nation state attack, which is kind of like the default like thing you go to at this point, which a lot of things aren't. Like the Facebook, like Facebook going down was not any sort of thing like that. It was just they messed something up and all their security features made it really hard to bring it back up. But it seems like someone could have used this attack to essentially look for the phone records or the text messages of politicians or people in power throughout the world. Like, why else would you do this? It's not like you're not trying to find like nudie pictures of like I don't know, some actress or something. Like you could do that a whole bunch of other ways, as has been proven in the past.
Right.
So, as part of their filing and in its statement to Ars Technica, Cineverse said that they have reset or deactivated the credentials of all EDT customers, even if their credentials were not impacted by the incident. So they reset everybody's password or just completely deactivated it.
That's 740 million
Are you doing the math?
messages per day.
Are you
That's
sure?
crazy. No, I'm not.
He's doing napkin math, people.
Oh, you know what? I am. I did it wrong. I put the wrong number in there. It's actually 2 billion. I don't know. I can't do the math. It's a lot per day.
Yeah.
That is
So,
crazy.
good news. Cineverse is apparently confident that it has everything under control, but told the SEC that it could still discover more problems resulting from the breach. Don't worry, we got this, government, but maybe we don't.
Exactly.
I love the way they let themselves have an out on that one. So their SEC filing was submitted on September 27th and discussed yesterday in an article in Vice's motherboard section. Vice is another good publication. They do a lot of journalism like this. According to Vice, a former Cineverse employee who worked on the EDT system said those systems contain information on all types of call records. Vice also quoted an employee of a phone company who said that a hacker could have gained access to the contents of SMS text messages. So,
wow.
Yeah. So this is, who knows what what we're gonna find out from this. I think this is gonna be one of those things we don't find out for like a couple of years, and this is gonna like randomly pop up, and it's gonna be like, hey, no big deal, but like over the last 7 years, everybody's text messages are out there.
That is just crazy.
But we're a publicly traded company now, so it doesn't matter.
Mean, who's gonna buy into that?
Yeah, that's a good question. Like, why would you knowingly buy their stock if there's a good chance at some point they're going to be found out and then all your shares are going to be worthless?
Yeah, that's got to be pretty tough for them. I mean, I don't know.
There are a lot of people who like to take that risk,
I guess, and obviously they handle the messages for pretty much everybody out there. But
yeah,
wow.
This is another reason why you should not use SMS text messages for your two-factor authentication if you have that set up with certain. I mean, if that's the only way you can do it, then yes, do it. But if there's any other way you can do it, change it to the Microsoft Authenticator app.
Right.
Like Google Authenticator app. Like, do something else if you can.
Yeah. That is just tremendously crazy.
Crazy.
And
on that bombshell, I think it's time to end the show. That's how, if you watch Top Gear, that's how they always ended the show.
Well, awesome. If you like what you hear, what you see, let us know. Leave us comments. Hit us up on Facebook when it's not out for the day. We didn't even talk about that.
We didn't talk about that.
And
I briefly mentioned it.
Yeah. Maybe next week. It'll be old news by then. But let us know what's going on, what you like, what you don't like, and share us with your friends every chance you get. We are Geeking Out Ninjas.
And we're out.
Bye.